what is up guys, I'm Strubey, and this is gonna be something a little bit different. So what this is kind of like a tutorial slash making of my previous music short Time. And yeah, I just thought this would be a great opportunity for me to share my creation process a bit more and hopefully be able to share some ideas and tips and tricks and stuff like that. But before we get started, coffee. I'll be right back. Alright, let's get started. So the main reason that I actually wanted to make a video to this song, other than that I really liked it, was because I felt it had like a really strong theme to it. And it was really fun to come up with a visual theme and story that fit to that. Right, so this first part is just all made in 3D, where I modeled out this pretty simple futuristic themed clock. And there's nothing too fancy about it. It doesn't even have textures, it just has some basic materials and some self-illuminated shaders to make it glow a bit. And as far as the theme and the colors go, I wanted to go for this kind of like purplish slash bluish contrasty night look. And this is just a quick breakdown of all the layers that we used to build this specific shot, and I'll go into a little more detail about how it's built in a bit. And something I also really wanted to try out for this video was a hyperlapse, like the one you can see here where the camera is actually moving. And I was really surprised that I actually got it to work, because let me tell you, manually taking up to 200 pictures handheld in negative 20 degrees Celsius and making them stable enough to work stitched together is quite the challenge. I was really satisfied with the result in the end though, so it was all worth it. Right, so the second part of the video is gonna be more of like a quick tutorial of sorts, where I break down a couple of shots and just talk about some important ideas and tips and tricks and stuff like that. So this episode's tutorial is going to be some tips for getting visual attention and emphasizing a focal point, which is basically a fancy way of explaining how to draw your attention to something in the frame, like a character you want to have in focus, for example. And this is probably one of the most important things that you can use to improve your work, whether it's video, photography, or just any form of visual artwork really. So if you do have a clear focal point in your frame, think of ways to make it pop and guide the attention of the viewer to that point in the frame. And there are multiple different ways of doing this, like altering your composition, changing your depth of field and light and motion and stuff like that. But I'm just gonna talk a little bit about some techniques that I use for this shot in particular to improve it. Okay, so we're inside of After Effects now, and this is just what the shot looks like with just a mirrored background and the character, plus the shadows and reflections of the character composited in. But this just looks very flat, and there is not much interest to the shot, I think. So there's a couple of different things we can do to just make the character pop a bit more. So the first thing that I wanted to change was the overall feeling of the motion in the shot. So I created an adjustment layer and added the optics compensation effect to it, which basically is like a lens distortion effect that changes the field of view of the image, giving it more of a wide or zoomed in look depending on what you're after. For this shot I put it to reverse lens distortion and keyframed it over time, which created an increasing zoomed in effect towards the middle of the frame. And to achieve the final look, I really wanted to separate the character from the background, and the main thing that helped with that was this red lens flare streak that I added behind the character. You can just instantly see how much more it pops. After that, I just finished it off by tweaking the colors a bit more, like adding a darker blue tint around the edges and shadows, which also helps to add focus to the middle because it creates that color contrast between the cool and the warm colors. Right, so I think that's enough technical talk for now. But with that said, there are so many more different things that I could cover and be more specific about when it comes to actual tools and specific settings and stuff like that. But I think it's much better to learn when and why you should use the tools they have, instead of just learning one cool effect and then applying it to everything. So yeah, hopefully you got something out of this, because I'm still learning like everyone else. Also, I'm currently working on a new music short, which comes out next week, so here's a little preview for that. And that's all you get for now. I'll see you then.